Just in case you're wondering, Ben Barnes' concert was great. He actually performed some new songs and some of fan favorites. Honestly, it was nice to just get out of the house and hang out with my friend and catch up. So yeah, all in all, it was a positive and very fun night. Alright, so now let's get into Far from the Maddening Crowd. So I realized that I didn't give you any synopsis, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that right now. I'm gonna read from Amazon, just kind of what it says at the overview. Step into the world of Bathsheba Everdeen, an independent and strong-willed young woman who comes into possession of a sprawling estate in 19th century England. This riveting tale weaves together a complex love triangle involving three distinct men: the steadfast shepherd Gabriel Oak, the charming yet flawed sergeant Troy, and the affluent bachelor William Boldwood, as Bathsheba navigates the intricacies of love, freedom, and social norms. She's faced with choices that will irrevocably shape her destiny. Will she find the balance between her fierce independence and the complexities of love and family? Okay, now that I've given you a bit of information about the book, I'm gonna go ahead and give you my spoiler-free review and let you know what I thought of it. Get a bit of a sip. Okay. So first I wanted to say that the interviewer from Penguin Book didn't specifically say why Ben Barnes found Far from the Maddening Crowd such a compelling novel, or rather why it's his favorite, or one of his favorites. I believe he read the book when he was in college, so it may have just been a requirement and just something that has stayed with him. So we follow a young woman named Bathsheba Everdeen. When we first meet her, she's living with her aunt, and she doesn't have a lot of money, she doesn't really have any prospects, but she's strong-willed and unwilling to settle. When we first meet Gabriel Oak, he's Bathsheba's first suitor. He's doing very well for himself. He's young, he's a successful farmer, he raises sheep, and he sees her and is immediately smitten. He says that he's in love with her, but he doesn't really know her, so it's more like a lustful love because she's so beautiful. But anyway, he decides that he is successful enough that he wants a wife. So he goes up to her house, or her aunt's house, where she's living, and he basically tells the aunt that he wants to propose to her. But Bathsheba isn't there, and the aunt tells him that there are many suitors that are interested in Bathsheba. So he leaves, but Bathsheba runs after him. She's out roaming about, but when she gets back to her aunt's cottage, they have this conversation telling her what Oak wanted, and then she runs after him. So when she catches up to him, he declares his love for her and asks if she'll marry him. And for Bathsheba, it's kind of like a game to her, almost, to see the affection of this, to see the affection this young man has for her. She has no intentions of marrying him or even letting him court her, but she's flattered by his compliments and the fact that he finds her beautiful and wants to be with her enough to marry her. But she's intent on marrying no one, or at least that's what she says. Bathsheba ends up leaving her aunt's house, and Gabriel Oak thinks he's never going to see her again. Unfortunately for Gabriel, he loses his farm and everything basically that he's saved up for, that he's had. So now he's just a free man roaming, looking for work. So he happens upon this town, and there's a fire. So he helps put the fire out. Well, the men that live on this ranch, they think he's fantastic, Oak. They're like, oh my gosh, this guy's great. So when he asks if there's I lost the sun for a bit. Apparently my voice too. Gabriel decides that he's going to seek employment at this farm. The men think highly of him already because he jumped in and helped put the fire out. But he soon learns the owner of the farm is none other than Bathsheba. Her uncle passed away and left her everything. So she went from having nothing to now being the mistress of this farm and all of its employees. So Bathsheba hires Oak, and he attempts to hide his feelings for her. But of course, they're always there. The men on the farm like him, he's knowledgeable, and he quickly becomes the go-to guy on the farm. Bathsheba's second suitor is a man named William Boldwood. He is much older than her, a bachelor, and he's also a farmer. He doesn't seem to notice her, and that bothers her. She is admired, her beauty is admired, and her youth is admired by everyone else in town, but he doesn't seem to even notice her. So he asks around, and everyone tells him of her beauty and of her intelligence and her independence. So he thinks, oh, everyone else finds her attractive, I must find her attractive too. So he becomes smitten with her, like to the point of insanity. And for Bathsheba, it's just a joke. It's another way to fuel her ego, to gain another man's affection, or to gain his approval of her beauty. Boldwood wants to marry her. He thinks it'll be a good match, and Bathsheba is not having any of it. She doesn't love him, she doesn't want to be with him, and the sun came back out. So Bathsheba confides in, of all people, Gabriel. She goes to him to get, I'm laughing because it's so cruel. She knows that he has feelings for her, but yet she goes to him and tells him about Boldwood. So of course, Bathsheba just plays Boldwood along until she meets yet another suitor. And Troy is a sergeant in the military. He's handsome and strong and big, but he has nothing really. He doesn't have stable income or money saved up, and he's in love with a girl that used to work on Bathsheba's uncle's property. But of course, he finds Bathsheba beautiful, and the girl that he wanted to marry is nowhere around. So he leads Bathsheba on, basically acting like he wants to be with her. But he doesn't really love her. He loves how she looks. He loves that she has money, prospects, land that will be his once they're married. But of course, Boldwood, he's not having any of that. He wants her to be his wife. So he convinces her, harasses her, threatens her to the point where she's crying of marrying him. I think he's by far the worst of her male suitors. Troy is abusive and he steals her money and he's a horrible person, but Boldwood is manipulative and borderline crazy. All this time, Oak is just doing his job, living his life, but Bathsheba always goes back to him. Anytime there's any kind of conflict in her life, troubles, she runs to Gabriel Oak. So some shit goes down, things I can't tell you because that would be a huge spoiler. And Bathsheba finds herself alone, no suitors. So you think she'd be happy. She has no one trying to take her money, no one trying to force her into marriage, no one wanting her just because she's beautiful. But no. In the end, she decides that the person who's been there all along is the man that she wants to spend the rest of her life with. Bathsheba is just such an immature, attention-grabbing person that it was really, really hard to root for her at all. So those are my thoughts on Far from the Maddening Crowd. I'm not gonna say that I enjoyed it. I can't say that it was a favorite of mine and something that I'll probably ever pick up again. I think Ben maybe liked the progression of the romance between Bathsheba and Gabriel Oak and the friendship that evolved over the years between them. There isn't a lot of growth on Gabriel's side, but definitely on Bathsheba. She learns a lot about herself, about love, what she wants, and Gabriel has known what he wanted all along, but his affection and love for Bathsheba changes as the years go by. He's not just in love with her beauty anymore, he's in love with the person. But yeah, anyway, I can speculate all day long why I think he liked that book, but I will not be picking it up again. Anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and start. I don't know what is wrong with my voice today. Probably from yelling in the Troubadour. It was so loud. A lot of people there, and the Troubadour is not a very big bar. So in trying to talk, you're like screaming. So I apologize for my voice. All right, let me see. I think I downloaded it. Let me see if it's there. So the next book I'm going to start is The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. I will not, there's no way I'll be able to finish this book. Right now I've read 18 hours and 23 minutes. So I'm just going to go ahead and start Golden Compass, and when I run out of time, I run out of time. And then I will let you know my opinion on this book. I'll read to you a summary or a synopsis before I get to listening to this book. Let's see, what does it say? Lyra is rushing to the cold. Far north, where witch clans and armored bears rule. North, where the gobblers take the children they steal, including her friend Roger. North, where her fearsome uncle Azrael is trying to build a bridge to a parallel world. Can one small girl make a difference in such a great and terrible endeavors? This is Lyra, a savage, a schemer, a liar, and as fierce and true a champion as Roger and Azrael could want. But what Lyra doesn't know is that to help one of them will be the betrayal of the other. This sounds riveting. All right, time to start the book.
His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. Book 1, The Golden Compass.
Hello, it has been a few days since I checked in, but I'm happy to say I am now on chapter 13. So let me go ahead and give you my thoughts so far. Oh, before I do that, let me show you my timer. Reading marathon is over. So my thoughts so far on this book is very positive. I'm enjoying the adventure aspect. I really like that our heroine is a child, and in many ways she's underestimated. She's learning things about herself, growing as an individual, and discovering who she is. The story starts off with Lyra sneaking around, spying on the master of the university where she lives. Her uncle Azrael is back in town. He's a world explorer, and he's brought with him information that concerns the council. But soon after he's informed the council about his findings, he's off again, and Lyra is left by herself. Fortunately, Lyra is never truly alone, nor any of the other people that live in this world, because they have demon companions. So basically, a demon companion you're born with, and they are an extension of yourself. Something I find really interesting is that children's demon can take on many different forms. All are animals, but it represents being a child, how when you're a kid, you're always changing your mind left and right. I want to be a doctor when I grow up. I want to be a writer. And the demon represents that, because a demon can turn into a leopard or a monkey or a chicken or a cat. But once you hit adulthood, the demon has settled on a form. Lyra seems to be doing just fine though, by herself without her uncle. She's not entirely supervised. There are adults all around her, but she gets into all kinds of mischief with the town children. Her best friend Roger is primarily who she gets in trouble with. He is her ride or die. Unfortunately, he is taken, or rather he is suspected of being taken, by a group of individuals who are known as the Gobblers. They have been going from town to town, taking children for who knows what nefarious reasons. Lyra is very concerned about him, but when a mystery woman shows up, Lyra, she doesn't forget about Roger, but she is distracted by this mesmerizing woman who is poised and a scholar in her own right. The university where Lyra lives, she's surrounded by male scholars, and very rarely is around women scholars. She sort of has this misconception about women scholars in general, but when she meets this particular woman, all of her former opinions are sort of washed away. Well, this woman wants to take Lyra away, and the headmaster of the university where Lyra lives tells Lyra that she has the opportunity to go with this woman. He makes it seem as though Lyra has a choice in the matter, when in reality the woman's taking Lyra whether she wants to go or not. Lyra, fortunately, wants to go, so she's excited, and so she goes to live with this woman. The woman, of course, buys her things, and they live in her extravagant apartment, and everything seems to be going well for Lyra. But then the woman has a party, and some of her guests tell Lyra information that she probably shouldn't know, and this sets in motion Lyra deciding that she's out of here, she's leaving. So she does. Lyra and her companion demon take off into the streets. But Lyra's street smart, so she's not someone that would fall easily to, she's not someone that would become a victim easily, but she is a child, so it's not exactly safe for her to be out there. While Lyra is out running the streets, she befriends a group of people that are heading to the north. And the north is where the Gobblers are taking the children. So Lyra decides she's going with these people. Well, at first they don't really recognize Lyra as someone who can be of service to them or someone who has any ability to help in their journey. But that soon changes, and Lyra is slowly starting to piece the puzzle together of what's going on with the children. And in the process, she's learning a lot about herself, who her parents are, what she's capable of, and what the gobblers are capable of. That's pretty much all I really know right now. I'm looking forward to getting back into it and finishing it, and then I'll probably give my full review of it in maybe a monthly book review or something like that. But yeah, this has been so much fun. I'm so happy that I decided to read some of Ben Barnes' favorite books, and I hope to get to the rest of them eventually. This has been a fun experience and something that I would love to do again. Maybe I'll pick a different celebrity. I think Ben likes deep stories with heart, love that is complicated and not always pretty. I think he likes stories that get to the root of humanity, stories that explore a character's flaws when it comes to love and their perspective of love. Something that I've noticed with all three of these books so far that I've read is the progression that occurs with the main character. It's a slow progression. You see them one way, and by the end of the story, they're a completely different person with regrets and sorrow and hopefulness. They almost feel tangible. They don't feel like a character in a book. They feel like people you might have known from another time, if that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you can like and subscribe, that would be fantastic. And I'm gonna go ahead and edit this video, and I will hope to see you in the next. Bye.